Right, let's continue the same lesson that we have discussed last week, that is about internet and email. And before we begin, I would like to tell and remind you something, that is basically we have published your examination on Edmodo. So you have to log into the classes and then go to O-level ICT English medium 2022-23, 22/23. That is the group link. And if you don't have the code, here's the code. I'm sending it to you in chat. That is the group code, and there's a pending one. Who's that name not entered? Anyway, okay, I'll approve that. But the thing is, you need to mention your name. And okay, so now you are in the group. So please do this examination. That is grade 11 term test. You will have your one as English medium, right? Under classes, the English medium batch. You can see grade here, first term test, grade 11. So that is the test. You have only few questions that is coming from the first lesson that we have learned. So please do that by next week, because next week is holiday due to this New Year festival and all. And anyway, you have to finish this by next week, right? Before next week. And after that, I'll be discussing this. And let's move to the note now. I have the downloaded version. You also need to download this note. Don't keep this in the drive and try to edit it. It won't work. So please download this. That is required. So after downloading, you can see that properly. When that is in the drive, you cannot see that properly, right? Okay, we learn up to here. I guess we learn up to here. Yes, the terminologies. Today we have to discuss about internet and its services. Actually, this lesson is related to grade. This lesson is related to grade 10. Grade 10, the second lesson. It has hardware and networking part, but I would like to highlight this as, so most of you cannot remember the things that you have learned in the particular grade. Therefore, I would like to highlight you that point as well. Right. So we learned that internet is the world's largest public wide area network. We learned that last day. It is the world's largest public. No one owns that. It belongs to the general public, and it is wide area network. Wide area network means a network within which connects different geographical areas. A network which connects different geographical areas, we call that wide area network. It's known as a network of network access, a giant or network of networks. It provides infrastructure. To infrastructure means the facilities. So infrastructure in a sense, like you can say, infrastructure in a sense, infrastructure is a facility basically. So it's like road, right? So in a road, you can see buses, lorries, trucks, cars, a lot of things. Similar to that, the internet is like your road infrastructure. It's like roads. Internet is connecting, right? Internet is connecting people, but there are services. So that is why it's called infrastructure or the platform. It's the platform. It provides services to many. So it provides actually infrastructure to many services. These services, including the main service, is World Wide Web. And you know, actually in this World War II, the internet began as ARPANET. We learned about that. Those terminologies we learned last week. Now it's time to study about the services of the internet. So this part that I have mentioned is not there in the note. Therefore, please write down this in the note. So under services of the internet. Services of the internet, there is a heading, and under that the first service www, and let's write small note for this, and then I'll explain that. So please write down under that. Tim Berners-Lee, he is called father of web, right? Tim Berners-Lee. Let's write down. Tim Berners-Lee has introduced World Wide Web in 1989 and published in a public domain. We learn what is a public domain. We learn that, right? Published in a public domain in 1993. He's called the father of web. He's still there. He has introduced this web concept. This is the most popular and prominent service of the internet. This is the most popular and prominent service of the internet. It provides entertainment, education, social networking, file sharing, communication, cloud computing, webmail, content management systems, e-commerce, e-education, news, knowledge, and much more, and many more. Services. I'll explain these things, right? Many more services. www uses client server architecture. www uses client server architecture. It provides simultaneous service. It provides simultaneous service through web server software, via web server software such as Apache, IIS, Tomcat, and consuming party or the clients must use a service consuming software to access the service. Examples. It's given, right? It's given. You can just copy and paste because it was given in your note. You can copy that as the example. If the link is unknown, unknown. If the link is unknown, we can use search engines to locate the resources. Provides, right? It provides. Okay, please write down this. I'll explain after that. Let me know once you're done. Right. Tim Berners-Lee is the person who has invented web actually in 1989. So this was like in the dawn of the internet. Dawn of the internet means when internet began. Actually, internet began in 1940s with the ARPANET, but the thing is the dawn came after 40 years. That is where the internet became popular in 1980s, late 1980s and 1990s. Actually, that time the World Wide Web was introduced. Initially, it was just to provide some service. I think you have seen the first website. I just showed you last week also. The first web page is cern.cn. Yes, this one info.cern.cn, and you can just see the first website that they have introduced. This is it, and it's very simple. Very simple website. So it's just information only in web 1. But the thing is here, www. Okay, then www uses client server architecture. It provides simultaneous service. Simultaneous service means one time it's provide many services one go. It can provide many service to many clients. So we call that as simultaneous service. And it uses a web server. It needs a software. That software is called web server, and web server software provides the service. Also, service consumer, the receiving party, need to use another service. Right? Receiving party needs to use another service. That is service client. We call a web browser. So web browser and search engine are two things. Firefox is a web browser. In Firefox, you can write Google search engine. Opera is a web browser. Safari is a web browser. In a Safari also, you can write google.com search engine. Google.com is a search engine, but the Safari or Firefox or Google Chrome is a web browser, right? Please understand this carefully, otherwise. Okay, then, so there are search engines like Bing, Yahoo, Answers.com. These are search engines. So Internet Explorer, Opera, Safari, those are DuckDuckGo. These are search engines, right? So it's there in the note. So please, I couldn't mention the search engines, sorry. So you can write down them. Search engines. Search engines are used to. Search engines are used to. Okay. Then the next service that we are going to discuss is email. So after that, we don't want to discuss much about other services, because other services we are already using that. We know about them. We don't want to discuss much about them, but these are two important services. So please write the next service, that is email. Right under that, please write Most, please write down. Most popular, sorry. Most popular email service is webmail. Webmail users, web browsers or web clients to send and receive emails. But the original email was another independent client server architecture based service. Another independent client server architecture based service. Servers, some, or you can say examples for email servers: send mail, listserv, Microsoft Exchange server. These are some examples. Examples for email clients that you can cut and paste from the same thing. Example for webmail. These are emails, webmail services. Email address is an address, is a unique address which is used to identify a user. The format is user at host. Example, Dasun at gicts.lk. So please write down this, I'll explain after that. Right? So even though this email is an independent service, actually popularity of web has overtaken. He has captured the popularity of, actually has captured the independency of the web. Because, so there are webmails. When you go to your web browser, when you log into your web browser, it is possible to access Gmail. So you don't need any other software. So most of the users use their web browser to access emails because it is easy. But actually speaking, there are different software programs where you need to, here this is Apple Mail. This is email application, which has more features, the categorization features, labeling features, and many things. And also you can read the emails offline. Means you can download emails and read it later. But this web mails, you have to log in and read, right? You cannot read offline. But this other email service will allow you to download the emails and read it in the free time. So that is basically a fixed email box, but fixed email box or email application. But webmail is just your web browser. You need to type username and password and log into that. The next important service is video conferencing. So that you already know, because MS Zoom that we are using, it is for the conferencing, Skype, MS Teams. So these are some examples which you can use for the conferencing facilities, where you can do live meetings and interact with each other. File transfer is another service. So file transfer is not just downloading and uploading files from web, because web has overtaken that as well. When you go to web, you have V-transfer, different transfer services, right? I think you have seen this V-transfer. V-transfer is a file transfer service which is available in web platform. You can upload files and send it to your friends. So that is file shares or different services are there to free transfer the files. These are web-based services, but this is not the actual original file transfer. Original file transfer comes with different client software and server software pieces. So this is also similar to that. A different client software, different server software. You can see this is FileZilla. You can also download this software. It's a very small software, lightweight. FileZilla. Then if you know FTP address, you can connect to a FTP website. I'm sending it to you to connect if you like. Then if I type the FTP address and connect, click connect, let me connect. Okay, you can see this side, it's my machine, right? I'm highlighting it in the pink color. Just draw in a square. This is my computer. This pink color window shows my computer, and this green color window is this. It's a file server. Actually, I can transfer files from my computer to file server or file server to my computer. This is actually a public file server, so it won't. I'm not sure whether it will let me transfer files to their server. Not sure. Let's try ni.html. I'm trying to transfer. Will it allow? No, it's denied, right? Permission denied. You can see permission denied means I cannot transfer that. But still, I can download a file. I can drag and drop a file here. Then it will download. So you can see it will download the file and it will come to my space, right? So that is possible. So when you host a website, you know, our website එකක් දාද්දී, ඔයාම website එකක් upload කරද්දී, normally these hosting providers will give you a file server link. ඔයා website එකක් host කරද්දී මේ file server එක දෙනවා host කරන තැනින්. එතකොට ඔයාට පුළුවන් කෙලින්ම website එක හදලා, you can create your own website here and upload that by dragging and dropping into the file server. But those file servers are having passwords. What I have given now is not having any password, right? You can connect anonymously. This is GNU, FTP GNU. So this is anonymous. GNU is my general public license. GNU is not Unix, and you can download Unix distributions, right? So different distributions are there, mirrors are there. Likewise, you can just explore. This is a file server. It's very easy to drag and drop files from file server to your. So that is the advantage, right? So that drag and drop feature is there. You can see the sizes, ownerships, and sizes also. These are little large files, HTML5, video, digital. What is this? There are very large files. A digital media primer for geeks. So you can see different files are there. A digital media primer for geeks, and there is a popular video here. There are small videos to RMS education. Just see, I don't know whether these are important to you, but you can just go and see. So there are FTP sites where you can download Linux distributions. Mostly this free software that has FTP sites. Or you can, this is anyway, I just want to show you a real snapshot of FTP. This is a FTP software. The advantage is you can just try transfer files directly. This is what FTP is. I hope that is clear to you, right? Do you need any doubts? Please ask. If you have any doubt, please ask. Then I can explain further. Unlike you click a link and download, you can just transfer the files like. Okay. No doubts. Let's move to the note. Then instant messengers, WhatsApp, Viber, Emo, Telegram, to send messages immediately, we can use instant messengers. That is another thing. To send and receive messages immediately. To take internet calls. Usenet news groups, another important service. So this is not much popular these days, but earlier days it was really, really popular. These Usenet news groups were really popular earlier days. These are kind of groups, independent or like it's organized group, basically. So when we subscribe, the updates will be sent to us. You can see it's very old one, right? It's started by Tom and Gmail is in 1979. It's very even older than web. When you subscribe, when you join with this news group, you will be getting a message when somebody update. So it will be sending us the notifications. Basically, these features are now available with web. YouTube subscribing feature is something like this. And Instagram or Facebook following feature is something like this. When you subscribe or when you follow, everyone will be updated, or Google groups, right? So this like message. So this, you can see the mailing list and news group. So small comparison between that, right? So these services are now not much popular nowadays. Remote access. So that is where you can access someone else's computer or computing system or any equipment without being in the particular location. Even Zoom provides that. Zoom provides remote access. Let me give the facility to Timasha. Timasha, now if you can try to move, accept the remote connection and try to move my mouse pointer, you can do it, right? If you just give a try, just move the mouse pointer and you can try to do it. You can click here and there. So you can select, you can write, you can delete. Everything is possible because you have the remote access to my computer. So that is simple. With Zoom also, the remote access is possible, right? That service is there. I'll stop that. Right, access and not just that, I'll send you another important link. This is a remote camera, but it uses website, but still important. When you log into the particular website, they will allow that camera to be remote accessed and remote controlled. Basically, the idea is the physically camera is not there in Sri Lanka, camera is some other country, but you can move it. You can zoom. You can change, right? Yeah. So I think now you are also moving, right? Seems you can pan it, you can zoom it, you can zoom out it. Okay, this is, I think, yeah. You can move the camera and see what's going on. This is a live camera from some other country. The camera is physically rotating, right? Remember that. Physically, my camera is right? That is the remote access level. Even a device can be accessed and device can be controlled remotely. This is, and the robot surgeries and all. Robot surgeries are done this way. But there is a secure setup, right? There is a username and password to control them. Access, but unfortunately or fortunately, there are no passwords to access this camera. Anyone can handle this camera. That is not good, but it is possible. Right? Anyone can rotate and access this camera. This is a remote camera. I'll tell you how to find other remote cameras. You can search in in URL view/index.html. If you search like that, search like this, you can find some other remote cameras using Google search. This is Google Doc to find out the particular. So from remote access cameras, you can just try. Some cameras you have to use, you have to type, you need to type usernames and passwords to control. Example, this is a camera, but I think you need a username. Yes, you need username. You need to know username and password to control that camera. Otherwise, you can't. This is from a university. So likewise, you can access cameras from different locations. If you find any interesting thing, just send me the link, then I can also see. So I found some cameras in farms, animal farms, beaches, several tourist attractive areas. There are. So remote access, not just accessing computers, accessing computing devices too. Then the cloud computing, that is also important topic. Let's write down about that as well, because that is also a very important topic. So let's write down a small note about cloud computing. This is another important service in the internet. This is another important service in the internet. There are 3 kinds of cloud services. SaaS, software as a service. PaaS, platform as a service. Keep some space to write down, right? Don't write down now, keep some space, I'll explain. Then then IaaS, infrastructure as a service. SaaS, we are, so end users are provided cloud software so that they can use it without downloading and installing. Example, Google Sheets, Google Docs, Photopia. These are some examples. This is mostly used by software people. They use pre-installed operating systems in the dedicated servers. Pre-installed operating systems in dedicated servers. Server features and software and operating system features can be requested and can be used on rental basis. No need to buy, you can use it on rental basis. IA is mostly used by hardware and networking people. Mostly used by hardware and networking people. This is server and network infrastructure. This is server and network infrastructure. Server features can be requested and can be used on rental basis. Since supercomputers and mainframes are expensive. Since supercomputers and mainframes are expensive to purchase, we can use same facilities on time-based rental basis. So please write down this, and after that I'll show you and I'll explain to you. Software as a service, basically it's used by end users, right? These services are actually organized one top of another, SaaS, then PaaS, then IaaS. It's like a pyramid, right? It's like a pyramid. In the bottom, you have IaaS here. IaaS, they are basically this network architects. This is infrastructure, hardware, networking infrastructure. So let's say you can't buy a supercomputer, no, you and me, so we can't afford that. So that is expensive. But we can rent it out if you want to practice, if you want to do research, if you want to do some experiment, or maybe if your organization needs that, you can rent it out. So that is the idea here. You can rent out a part of your, not the entire supercomputer, but you can rent out the power of that, part of that. So that is what happening here. Then PAA is in the above layer. That means you are not just renting out the infrastructure, you are renting out the infrastructure plus some software. Basically, you need the operating system, some other software environment. Then you can demand that, you can ask that, and the computer will be given to you. So this is also Google Cloud services. You can see there are videos in my channel about these cloud services. You can just go and watch them. So that is about these cloud services. And then you, as end users, Office 365, then Google Docs, Photopia, we are mostly using this SaaS layer. So that is, anyway, the application is there, so we are using that. Application is there, we are just using, we are utilizing, we are doing activities using that application. So that is SaaS layer. So anyway, don't worry, you won't get questions, deep questions from this, but still you need to know about the three cloud services available: SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. These are the services. We already learned about the web browser. We already learned about search engines, right? So understand the difference. Google.com is a search engine, whereas Google Chrome is a web browser. Please understand the difference between this. Right, then, so the next thing is about this snail mail and general email. So snail mail means the like ordinary email. Ordinary mail, which has the house number or name, city, and the country. That is the example. And this one, it has a format of user at domain or user at host. I explained that. And the real snail mail has a physical destination as well as physical source, but here both are logical sources, logical destinations. You need to be in the physical address to receive the snail mail, but it is slow. That is why it's called snail. You need to be in the physical. So if I am to receive an email, standard mail, I have to be in the particular address. Otherwise, I won't get the letter. But here, even you are in Antarctica, even you are in the space, you will get the email if internet connection is there. So this is very fast, efficient, and cost effective. But unfortunately, you cannot send goods using the email service. Still, no way, no mechanism to send goods. And also, it need to be physically secured, maybe taped or sticked envelope need to be used, maybe sealed one to protect it with some legal background. Here, you can use passwords, encryption to protect this. So also for the store, it needs physical space, but here you don't need a physical space to store that. That is the comparison that is already given in your note. Right. Final topic today, we are going to learn about two architectures as we discussed above. So that is, the first architecture is called client-server architecture. The second architecture is called peer-to-peer architecture. So most popular architecture of the internet is client-server architecture. Web works in client-server, email, client-server, cloud, client-server. So these are most of the services offered in the internet uses client-server architecture, where the client is basically, right, client is the service consumer and the server is the service provider. Actually, server here is a powerful machine because it needs to provide simultaneous service. So it's a very powerful machine. Since it needs to provide a simultaneous service, need to be a powerful, high power, high performance, basically high memory capacity, high processing power need to be there. So it also needs a server software. So if it needs web server, you need to install web server software, file server software, email server, then email server software. We learned about few examples before. And the client, which is service consumer, need not to be that much of high power machine. Any machine can consume the service. Even your mobile phone can consume the service. Any machine can consume the service. Even a small machine can consume the service, right? So it is a smaller one. Then, right, web service is basically received via web browser. Email service received through email client. Similar to that, it needs a client software to receive the service. Server software, powerful machine needs server software. Server, right? A client, no need to be powerful machine. A simple machine is even okay, but need a client software. That is what you need to know. The server software providing service. Server software can tama service එක දෙන්නේ. The client software can tama service එක. Then both software programs are needed to ensure the service. Web server එක නැත්නම් අපිට web service එක ලැබෙන්නේ. Web browser එක නැත්නම් ඒ ලැබෙන්නේ. We need both. Email is also the same. Then peer-to-peer architecture is very simple architecture where one party is giving the service, the other party is getting the service. It's very simple architecture. So think about you and your friend. You both connected to the internet and you want to send file to your friend. So you don't host a server, simply you are transferring file from one computer to another computer without much concern. You don't think much. You just transfer the file from one computer to another computer without setting up a service. Only thing is multiple parties, it's difficult to get the service. It is difficult to provide simultaneous service because your computer is just a simple machine, just a simple computer. So your computer is not a powerful computer. Therefore, you cannot provide service to multiple parties, and it is not the aim also. Aim also personally sending file to another. So that is peer-to-peer architecture. Right? Basically, there are examples to peer-to-peer architecture. You can write down torrent, onion service. Those are examples, but only few, right? Only few. Most of the services are client-server. Peer-to-peer services in the internet are low, but still there are peer-to-peer services. For an example, you control a camera. Sometimes it happens through client server, small web server is there in the camera, but it can be done in the peer-to-peer way as well. Okay, I think with that we can stop for today. Please note that your examinations are published. So please access the Edmodo account and complete your examination. Next day, we are going to learn about the remaining terminologies and finish this tute. And after finishing the tute, we can move to the practical HTML, so which is the main lesson of this series. That then we'll discuss about that main lesson. First of all, we need to finish the background. Still, we are preparing the background. This background coming from grade 10. Therefore, please pay attention to this, because in the examination, you will be asked both, right? Not just the grade 11 stuff, you will be asked grade 10 stuff as well. Therefore, please be ready. Okay, with that, I'll stop for today. I'll discuss the remaining part week after next week, because next week is holiday anyway. That is New Year vacation day. So I'll keep that day as a holiday. You have to finish your examination. Week after the next week, we can meet together and discuss the remaining topics. Then good night. I'll stop from here.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Bye.